On the day that All Elite Wrestling launched in 2019, Chris Jericho emerged as the standard bearer of the bold new promotion's vision. With decades of experience, unmatched charisma, and undeniable legitimacy, Jericho's signing gave AEW instant credibility. Tony Khan, then the president of the Jacksonville Jaguars of the NFL, had often said that the company's early success would not have been possible without Jericho. And Jericho proved immediately at All Out 2019 he defeated Hangman Adam Page to become the inaugural AEW World Champion. He proved as the first major ex-WWE star to truly anchor the new challenger brand, carry the new company on his back with arrogance, humor, and unmistakable star power. Yeah, with a wicked grin. The immortal catchphrase of a little bit of bubbly, Jericho ushered in AEW's era, determined to show that he was not just a legend of the past, but a face of the new wrestling future. This is the rise and a bit of the fall of Chris Jericho in AEW. Jump in the comments below. Let us know what you think of Jericho in AEW, and let us know what you think of what could be the late stage of his career, maybe in WWE. Let us know what you think. It's Sportskeeda Wrestling. In the early days of AEW, not that long ago, Jericho was everywhere and everything All Elite. He surrounded himself with loyal soldiers, manipulated to form his inner circle, a faction designed to dominate AEW from within, with names like the High Flyer Sammy Guevara, the Bruiser Jake Hager, the standout tag team of Santana and Ortiz at his side. Jericho ruled through numbers, intimidation, and experience, weak and reigned as AEW World Champion. At the top of it was Jericho, built on just enough brilliance to remind everyone why he had survived and thrived for decades. He called himself the Demo God, boasted endlessly, and made the championships feel like important prizes in wrestling. For a time, AEW truly felt like it was Jericho's kingdom, and you were just playing in it. But no reign at the top lasts forever. We all know that. Jon Moxley, wild-eyed and violent, stalked Jericho through late 2019 and early 2020. Their collision at Revolution 2020 ended Jericho's title run and shattered the illusion of his invincibility. Also, it was one of the first big title changes in the young upstart promotion's history, so it mattered a lot. Moxley took the championship, and Jericho was left to confront new realities. He was no longer the king, only a powerful veteran in a promotion that was quickly filling with hungry challengers and hot new hands. The loss did not destroy him, but it marked an end to the unquestioned dominance he had coming in to AEW. Jericho's feud with the always charismatic but always subdued Orange Cassidy in 2020 showed a different side of him, leaning into comedy and cruelty at the same time during a challenging time when we were all just looking for something out of the box, but also in the box at the same time with the pandemic. When Cassidy defeated him in the infamous Mimosa Mayhem match where someone got pushed into a pile of mimosa, dumping Jericho into a vat of orange champagne, it was both hilarious and symbolic and ridiculous. The once feared champion had become vulnerable, even ridiculous, and also embracing all of those circumstances at the same time. Yet Jericho, as always, adapted. He was always down for reinvention. Maybe the more darker chapter of Jericho's time in AEW occurred when MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, infiltrated the Inner Circle faction led by Jericho and betrayed him, outmaneuvering him, humiliating him. Jericho became the victim of the manipulation he once mastered, the feud between Jericho's Inner Circle and MJF's Pinnacle, a throwback to the Four Horsemen and modern times. It was fierce and personal, though short-lived, ending with Jericho being thrown from the cage in the blood and guts match and written off TV for a period of time. When he returned, battered but determined, the current times, MJF understood what it meant to fight it all out at All Out 2021. Jericho's career was on the line. His victory over MJF, which secured his future, felt like a man fighting to defy the passage of time. It was one of his most emotional wins in AEW, demonstrating that he could still evoke sympathy and high drama in 2022. Chris Jericho, ever the creative and always with a penchant for reinvention, shed his skin once again. He betrayed his old allies, dissolved the Inner Circle, and formed the Jericho Appreciation Society, almost a built-in knockoff of what he did before. This version of Jericho's Inner Circle was anything but. It was smug, self-aware, with the villainy circle all about him, and it mocked AEW's professional wrestling identity by calling himself as a sports entertainer. He dubbed himself the Wizard and threw fireballs using all of the old shenanigans and leaned fully into being an insufferable egomaniac. Strangely, it worked, whether you wanted it to or not. That same year, Jericho had some of the best matches of his All Elite run. It even captured the Ring of Honor World Championship under the AEW banner, rebranding himself as the Ocho since he was an 8-time now world champion. And he went on a crusade against ROH's proven legacy of technical wrestling elegance, beating former champions to prove that even in his 50s, he was still the king of this game. But time, as always, catched up. The Jericho Appreciation Society slowly fractured, not serving all of the members. Younger wrestlers started to question Jericho. He suffered high-profile losses to rising talents and dream opponents. By the end of 2023, the group disbanded, and Jericho drifted back towards a babyface role, even teaming with former rivals like Kenny Omega against the Don Callis family. The stories were still big, the matches still intense, but Jericho no longer the center of gravity. Increasingly, he was there to help others, to elevate others to the rafters of dominance that he himself had reached. In 2024, Jericho tried to once again reinvent. It was something he was good at. Sure, do it again. He presented himself as a mentor figure with the Learning Tree, a new faction, surrounding himself with Big Bill, a former WWE name, and Brian Keith, portraying himself as a guru whose wisdom could shape the next generation of wrestling talent. Against expectations, the run briefly succeeded. Jericho won the ROH World Championship again. It felt like one last defiant stand against the passage of time. But that didn't last long. In April of 2025, Jericho lost the Ring of Honor World Championship to the masked and handsome Bandito, who was on quite the run at the time. In the aftermath, frustrated and bitter, he blamed his own proteges and walked away from them. Then he walked away from AEW television altogether, with Ring of Honor underneath that banner. For the rest of 2025, Jericho was gone, not to be seen. He focused on his own band, Fozzy, his popular and still ongoing podcast, and stayed out of storylines while still being an active entertainer with everything he had been doing for many, many years up to that point outside of professional wrestling. His contract status became a topic of constant speculation. Fans wondered whether or not the man who helped build AEW would ever return, or whether the final chapter of his legendary rock star turned pro wrestler career would be written elsewhere. In 2026, Jericho has remained officially under contract, a part of AEW's history, and his identity still remains, I guess, professionally there, but it's not a weekly presence. Spoken of with reverence and respect by AEW executive Tony Khan, but is the absence felt in the ring? Sure, but that doesn't mean they don't have talent to fill it out with other names that Jericho contributed to. His position on the card, once the very top, has undeniably fallen. New stars can now carry the company just as Jericho once did. In that sense, his story in AEW has become a story about time itself, the unavoidable transition from centerpiece to legend. It's not always convenient to anyone on either side. And yet, because he is Chris Jericho, nothing ever feels finished because he's always chasing reinvention. His entire career has been built on reinvention, on refusing to accept any chapter and grow old, always choosing to flip the script at the right time. Whether he returns for one final run, whether it be in AEW or maybe in another promotion you're very well aware of, his impact is undeniable. He was the first champion of AEW, the first true megastar to put them on the map, the man who made them the challenger brand that they are today, giving them credibility that they couldn't buy, but could only get from him. Yes, back in those fragile days, Jericho was truly the lifeblood of AEW.